Okay, so we're going to have a look at creating a pad, a very simple pad. Now we can do this on any synth. I'm using the wonderful Korg Prologue here because it's nice and simple, and what you see is what you get. Also is the 16 voice model, so it's not going to run out of voices. And then I'll show you in Native Instruments as Massive, because that's also a fairly straightforward synth. So let's have a look. Here I've got just a basic sound. I think it's set on square, on saw. Okay, so one oscillator doing nothing, saw. I'll play a chord. Yep, doesn't really sound like a pad. So first thing to do is raise your attack and release in your amplifier section. Okay, so effectively it just comes in and comes out. Pretty straightforward. Next step is to add a second oscillator, shall we? Let's just turn up the second oscillator, and I'm going to basically put him on a pulse wave, and I'm going to put him 1 octave below. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a chorus, effectively a chorus ensemble, and I'm going to throw in a reverb. Starting to sound a little bit more like a pad. Now I just want a little bit of movement in it. All I really want to do is I just want to fluctuate this cutoff frequency. It's fairly straightforward. I just want to modulate it. That's what I want to do. I'm going to make the LFO target the cutoff, and I'm going to turn it up a little bit so it just modulates it, say like that, and probably at around that speed. Let's see how we go. Yep, and for it to work I need to turn the cutoff down. Here we go. Yep, I might put the second oscillator down an octave, and that should give me a little bit more beef. Cool, okay, let's try it out on NI's Massive. Okay, so here I am in NI Massive. I'm just going to go File, New Sound. I've got the first oscillator set to a sawtooth. I'm going to turn the second oscillator to a square and put it an octave down, just like I had it in the Korg. I'm going to go to envelope 4, which is always assigned to the amp. I'm going to turn up the attack and turn up the release. So now I've got the shape of a pad. Cool, I'll just turn it down a little bit because it'll start to get a bit hot and massive. Now I'm going to turn on the chorus ensemble and a reverb, very similar to as I had it in the Korg. Great, so now I'm going to turn on the filter. I'm going to put the cutoff into the same position, and I'm going to assign an LFO just like I did in the Korg and tell it to move up and down. I'm going to slow the rate down just to try and get that same movement that I had in the Korg. So this should be close. It is. The first thing I notice is the resonance is up, which Massive always has that up by default. So I'm going to turn it down. That should be quite similar. So I think good practice in making a pad is to start with the amp envelope, always having a long attack, a long release. You need a chorus ensemble and a reverb and a little bit of movement in the filter. The other key attributes here is the 2 oscillators, and of course you can play around, there's so much you can do, but here I just set one to be an octave lower and put it on a pulse, and the other to put on a sawtooth, and there's a basic pad patch.